You have one new message. Translating. Disney and Pixar's Hoppers is now available on Disney+.
You could say that again.
Critics are calling it Pixar's funniest movie ever and a wildly entertaining ride. Blizzard Potato. It's certified fresh and verified hot.
Now we party.
This is incredible!
Wow, I am clearing the rest of the day.
Disney and Pixar's Hoppers, now available on Disney+. Rated PG.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tuned Into Tennis. I'm your host, Myles David, back again to bring you some of the most colorful tennis commentary that you can find on the internet. Today features a conversation from another one of the people in the tennis podcasting space, providing lots of fun color. Tony from the Gay Tennis Podcast spoke with me over on his show to sort of close the loop, if you will, about our Madison Keys Australian Open predictions. Both of us thought she had great momentum coming into the Grand Slam, but neither of us thought she'd actually win it. And that's exactly what she did, ladies and gentlemen. Throughout our conversation, we marvel at the fact that we can actually call Madison Keys a Grand Slam champion now and merge the worlds of pop culture and professional tennis as only we can, with the correlation between the one and only Miss Mariah Carey and Madison Keys herself. So I hope you're in for an episode full of chuckles, debauchery, and fun tennis talk. Without further ado, here's the episode.
I'm Tony, and can I just say, Madison Keys, y'all. Madison Keys, what you have done to me over the last 48 hours. I'm going to finish reading my intro in a second, but I just have to say, I am so excited. This episode is going to be a celebration of Madison Keys and everything she has accomplished. And since we spent a good amount of time talking about Madison Keys during our Australian Open preview show, there is only one person I wanted to have come back and talk about Madison's unbelievable run, and that is my friend, Myles David, the creator of Tuned Into Tennis. Welcome back, Myles. I'm glad you're back again.
I am happy to be back, Tony. I'm already smiling from cheek to cheek, ear to ear, and I am smiling to be back with you, and because Madison Keys is a freaking Grand Slam champion.
I can't believe it. This entire episode is going to be just like a party vibe for her. We're going to go through exactly what got Madison Keys her first slam. But I want to say, if you are at home, you are in a safe space, feel free to grab a cocktail, because I don't think I'm going to look as cool as Madison Keys doing it, but I'm about to pop a bottle of champagne in honor of Madison Keys finally getting her first slam.
Hey.
There it is. Did you hear it?
She deserves it.
She deserves it. And honestly, I deserve it. And so do you, because I can tell you, creating content for 2 weeks during the Australian Open with that time zone is not easy. Myles, before we get into everything with Madison, tell everybody what's been going on with you and your social media and your podcast, Tuned Into Tennis.
I don't know if you guys will see this, but I'm forming bags underneath my eyes. And it's been worth it because I have really, really enjoyed this Australian Open throughout all of it. And I've just been, riding the wave. I have found myself like in a really toxic cycle with the one and only TikTok, because I was one of the people that deleted the app off of my phone. And then within 24 hours, they were like, "Ooh, this is not available in the United States." And in that same 24 hours, a birdie came to me and told me that I really should be utilizing that if I want to spread my beats and spread the word on tennis and kind of enlarge my community. So I'm been gearing up for that while also still doing my podcast and writing for Sports Illustrated. So I've been keeping busy these last 2 weeks, and enjoying the tennis and enjoying listening to the Gay Tennis Podcast. So all of the above.
Oh, thank you. I have enjoyed everything you've been releasing too. And I have that same plan. I got the same kind of spiel from someone like, if you're not on TikTok, you're missing out on opportunities. It's easier to monetize. I'm like, okay, I got to get on TikTok.
But we're in our 30s, not to age us, but like they over there gyrating all the time, and just it's an interesting world over there.
It is, but listen, after a couple glasses of this champagne I just popped, I might be gyrating here too. So
hitting the nice ace count or something.
Right, exactly. So with that said, I now have my champagne poured. I would like to start this episode with a toast to Madison Keys, because I have to say, Madison, I have never been so inspired by a run to a title, I think, ever in my entire life. I was thinking about this. I think before this, it was Rafa's run to the Australian Open in 22. That was the most inspiring to me. I never thought he'd win another major like that, and he did. But this one changed how I view Madison kind of as a person, how she speaks, and as a player, obviously, over the last 2 weeks. I am so proud of her. I'm so inspired by this run, truly. So cheers to you, Maddie. And that's really I have to say. I can't wait to dive in and talk about everything we have to talk about. Myles, do you have a toast you'd like to give to Maddie?
I'd love to give Madison a toast. I think it is appropriate to toast to the journey of Madison Keys, because I distinctly remember that young, bright-eyed, bright-smiled girl back in 2015 that made Serena have all those match points, and Serena started cursing at herself. And I vividly remember that match. And to say that 10 years has gone by and now she's finally a Grand Slam champion is a testament to her dedication. And with everything that kind of went on in the lead up to the 2025 Australian Open, her ability to be flexible. So I think all of those things are a testament to the kind of athlete and woman that she is and has become. And I've loved to see it. So cheers to you, Madison Keys.
Oh my God, so well said. I remember Lindsay Davenport crying in the stands after Madison beat Venus Williams to advance to that semifinal 10 years ago now. And it really is such a story of perseverance that Madison Keys has come through. We'll get into so much more about that, but I really agree with you, and that hit home for me as well. I wanted to have you on today, Myles, because we just met, you and I, about 2 weeks ago now, to do Australian Open preview show, and Madison Keys actually featured fairly heavily in it. She had won the lead up tournament. We talked about her a lot. We both had agreed that she was playing well, and I went back and listened to that episode, and I wanted to say a few things and address those before we get going, because I just think it's interesting. If we start with me, when I was talking about Madison, I picked her to go through to the semifinals, and which I was proud of that pick, but I didn't pick her to go further than the semifinals because, Madison tends to do well. And then up until this tournament had a lot of tough losses in semis and quarters. We've seen it at the US Open. We've seen it at Wimbledon. And so I didn't ever push further than semifinals. And then I also said, in a little bit of shadiness, I said that no matter what happened, we knew we'd see Madison Keys cry, because I think I've seen Madison Keys cry more than any other player on tour, which did come true, a prediction that did come true. But damn, am I happy that it came true, because she was crying happy tears after beating Swiatek in the semis and Sabalenka in the final. I just could not be happier to see her cry in those situations.
Still insane to hear her with those wins back to back. Swiatek and Sabalenka.
It's really unbelievable. And Myles, while you were on, you hit the nail even more on the head. So slow clap to you. Maybe I'll do a special cheers to you as well with my champagne. You said Madison Keys is so good but hasn't broken through. She's good enough to break through. It's just a matter of doing it in the big moments. You then went on to talk about how much people were behind her, how much support she had. And I just feel like that was something that I hadn't really clicked in on, was how much support Madison Keys had behind her leading into this tournament, and how much goodwill she had from fans, from players, from everywhere. So I think you really clocked that early on, because she has received an unbelievable amount of outpouring of support.
I mean, anytime Lil Wayne fixes his fingers to put together a tweet and basically use all 140 characters with exclamation points, you're doing something right.
Yeah, especially if you're not Yelena Ostapenko, because normally she's the only one who he sends love to.
Still haven't flushed out the how that happened, but maybe one day I will.
Very much an odd couple. But okay, Myles, before we dive into Madison's run at the Australian Open, when I was thinking about this episode, well, first of all, this is a preview. Right. I wonder if anyone knows this. If you know this song, you're about to know the theme of this episode.
You should have known that song within like 3 seconds of the beat.
Yeah, exactly. The beat is very well known.
I like the beat.
I like the beat. Yes. Mariah, the only time Mariah Carey's ever been compared to Kim Zolciak. But anyways, before we dive into Madison's run at the Australian Open, I want to take you back to a simpler time in 2005 when diva, gay icon, and queen of Christmas Mariah Carey was on the comeback trail. As you may remember, in the years prior to 2005, Mariah had experienced critical, commercial, and professional struggles from issues like the movie Glitter in 2001, which totally bombed. She also had personal struggles and checked herself into a facility at that time. But in 2005, she came back, and her comeback album was called The Emancipation of Mimi, a personal album that represented an updated sound for Mariah. It signified her creative freedom after she felt oppressed by expectations of record executives in the past. What does that sound like? The album was hailed by critics, became the highest selling release in the US of that decade. She won 3 Grammys. Her second single, We Belong Together, went number 1 for 14 weeks and was hailed as the song of the decade by Billboard. And lastly, at one point, she held the top 2 spots on the Hot 100 with her songs We Belong Together and Shake It Off at number 1 and 2, respectively. Once Mariah literally shook off the expectations of others and went in her own creative direction, she released the biggest hit of her career. So, Myles, why am I talking about Mariah Carey right now? I ask you, did we just witness the emancipation of Maddie?
I think I can give a resounding yes. Maybe a hell yes.
Give me a hell yes. Doesn't it feel like this is like, as soon as I saw this whole thing go down, I'm like, this reminds me so much of this album, which, like you said, we're in our 30s. I'm aging myself a little bit. I will never forget when this album came out. This was everything and everywhere and took over the world. And it's very much like how Madison Keys has taken over the world after this win. After all these setbacks, all these struggles, so many people had written her off. I was guilty of thinking that I wasn't thinking she was going to have this in her.
Same.
And here she comes now at the age of 29 after years of struggles with her biggest hit ever. This is the emancipation of Maddie Keys, honey.
And we are witnessing it live. Maybe not in the Walkman style or like CD player vibe that I had going on during the emancipation of Mimi years. Because I actually, I still remember vividly like having that playing. Were they called Walkmans back then? Because the Walkman was like a cassette tape.
Or CD players.
It was a CD player that I had that I kind of had to blow on a little bit to kind of give the vibe. And I remember being like on a bus to like some random Southern field trip. And I was vibing. I don't remember what song it was that I was vibing to, but I know it was from Emancipation of Mimi. And I just remember being like, wow, this is the Mariah Carey everybody's been talking about for like, in 2005, I was 11, 12, maybe. Yeah, if I do the math, which I'm not good at. So I hadn't really experienced Mariah Carey as, a fully, and I still wasn't fully formed, but I hadn't experienced her like everybody else had experienced her that was more adult in the 90s. So when that album came out, I was like, oh, this is what everybody hears when they listen to Mariah Carey when she's in her bag. And that's exactly what she was in. And Maddie was in her bag in Australia. So I see the correlation.
Thank you. Yes, Maddie is in her bag. And let me tell you, there is a song on I think it's the extended version of the album called Don't Forget About Us that I still listen to all the time. And if you are one of these young gays or someone who is not giving Mariah Carey the respect she deserves, she actually raps at the end of this song. She does like almost a rap at the end of what is the song called? God,
Don't Forget About Us.
Don't Forget About Us. I was about to say We Belong Together. I'm like, no, I'm looking at these notes saying We Belong Together. At the end of Don't Forget About Us, it's so freaking good. It's hilarious. It's just like a version of Mariah you don't normally see. I love that song. Anyways.
But she does have the long ending note at the end that she is famous for in both of those songs. And both of those notes clear. Yeah.
She does. She still has it. Listen, just like Maddie Keys, she has it. So let's dive into Madison Keys, her run here at the Australian Open. We mentioned Mariah Carey had the number 1 and number 2 song on the Billboard Hot 100 with We Belong Together and Shake It Off.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the correlation immediately hit for me that Madison beat the world number 1 and number 2 en route to her first Grand Slam. The first woman since Serena Williams in 2005 to do that, by the way, 20 years ago, the year Emancipation of Mimi came out. I kind of want to start with the Iga match. Can we just start in that semifinal talking about her win over Iga? Because I truly did not think that Madison Keys could beat Iga Swiatek. So that semifinal win to me was actually even bigger than her winning the final.
Yeah, it was huge. I had a small glimpse of hope for Madison to come through that one, or at least test Iga, because Madison beat her on a quick hard court in Cincinnati a couple seasons ago. And it wasn't like, I think Iga was off the tail end of that, 30-something match win streak. So it was still a very dominant Iga, but she was having a small rough patch. And I thought about that, but I didn't think Madison was actually going to be able to go to the net and shake hands as the winner. So, to my surprise, I was quite gagged to see that and to know that she saved a match point. Those two things usually don't go together in the same sentence, Madison Keys and saving match point.
Right. Especially, yeah, I'm the same way. You're 100% right. And I remember that win in Cincinnati a few years ago, but she's also taken some tough losses to Swiatek where the matches were not close.
Wallops.
And I think it's because, yeah, literally, because I think Swiatek is so good at not only is she super fast, she hits like a heavy ball that kind of jumps up on Madison, so it's harder to hit your flat, clean strokes. And Swiatek just plays such good defense that I just didn't see how Madison would be able to penetrate through that. But like I said, this is a new Madison Keys, honey. This is her new era, the emancipation of Maddie. And what she did in that tiebreak, when she was down the entire tiebreak, and the way she mentally stayed in there, fought, came up with these shots time and time again to hang in there, and then come back and win that 7-6 in the third set, 10-8 in the tiebreak. It just was a completely different Madison Keys. I thought, so that 7-all point they played a point at 7-all where Madison put so much effort into it, was defending, ran up and hit like a huge passing shot, forehand cross court that Iga just kind of blocked back, and she went down 7-8. And I was like, okay, this is it. This is where Maddie's going to lose it. Madison comes to the line, blasts an ace, an unreturned serve, and then now at match point 9-8 outlasts Iga, and Iga hits an error. Like, it just blew me away. I was pacing around my loft. I was freaking out. I could not believe it. And I have not felt like that in so many years watching tennis. I have to say, I have not felt those kind of emotions for a player probably since back in the earlier Serena days, Sharapova days.
There was something actually that harkened me back to like a Sharapova or a Serena moment, and I actually think it was in that super tiebreak. Madison won a point, and the camera perfectly cut to her like talking to herself, and she was mumbling, "Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on."
Yes,
I don't think I had ever seen Madison Keys do that.
No,
like, she's normally, she does let out her come on, but for the most part, she is kind of even keel out there. She lets her racket do the talking. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, like this is a different energy. It was fire, but it was still in Madison Keys's, overall demeanor. It didn't seem like she was playing too far or acting too far out of herself. And I love that. And that moment's going to stick with me to see how much it was just visceral that she wanted it, but in her own way. And I feel like that's always been the balance she's been trying to strike of playing her own type of tennis and bringing the fire that she needs when it's time to do it. Because sometimes the fire can kind of go all over the place. And even still, I think what's magnificent about this run, if you look at some of the other matches we'll get to, she did have moments where the ball was going all over the place,
Yes.
And for that to kind of be cut out of the equation when it really, really mattered in the semis and the finals, especially against the world number one, Rina Sabalenka. Oh, I was about to call Iga world number one. I'm sure there's somebody that still thinks that, but whatever.
Yeah, and they're giving you hate on Twitter right now.
Oh, aren't they? Oh, aren't they?
No, I actually remember the exact moment you're talking about where she was saying, come on, come on, come on to herself. I remember that. I also think I've never seen Madison Keys hit her backhand down the line so well. Madison was hitting her backhand down the line. We were talking about Serena and Maria. Maria Sharapova's backhand down the line used to be my favorite shot. The way she was setting up the point with that backhand down the line and then to set up her ripped forehand, she just blew me away. I could not get over the poise, the perseverance you talked about earlier, like to get over the line in that match where she had so many opportunities to just let it go. You know what I mean? It's like, it's Iga. She got broken. You know, we haven't even mentioned serving at 5-all in the third set. Maddie got broken and Iga served for the match. And like you said, she did get to match point.
Yep.
And it's like there just were so many opportunities for her to say, here we are again. I lose another close match late in a major. Another opportunity slips by. But she didn't. She dug in and she took her opportunity. And when she beats Swiatek, that was when I was like, okay, you know what? I am setting my alarm for this final because I feel like there's a real chance here that she's going to take this title, and I have to be there to watch it because I've been there to watch so many of the tough times that I want to get into. But before we do, let's talk through the final. Going into the final, Aryna Sabalenka was the 2-time defending Australian Open champion. She had obviously advanced to the final this year, heavy favorite to win. Not only is she the ultimate hard court test, she has added drop shots, angles. I couldn't believe some of the angles I was seeing. It was looking like Monica Seles out there. Some of the angles that Aryna Sabalenka was hitting in slices. And I thought Maddie had a chance here, but I thought it was another uphill battle, again, given the situation and given how much Aryna had won. But yet again, Maddie came out on fire in that match. And when I saw her in that first set, I was like, oh boy, we are in for it. And boy, were we in for a classic final.
I can't wait to rewatch that final. And I've actually already watched some bits and pieces of it back. But I was nervous for Madison from the very get-go because I knew that U.S. Open semifinal that she played against Aryna Sabalenka in 2023 would be on both of their minds because it was that dramatic of a matchup. And I think Madison came out with that on her mind. Like, I cannot repeat this. And I think she used the expectation that she put on herself and kind of like the scar tissue that she had from that moment to come out so quickly. Because even Sabalenka was like, oh, this is like, yes, this is Madison Keys, but this is Madison Keys in a Grand Slam final. And if you're being honest with yourself and looking at the tape, the last time we saw Madison Keys in a Grand Slam final wasn't pretty.
No, it was not. It was not. And it was over very quickly. And just like, you know, it was the same court that the semifinal with Aryna Sabalenka was on. And yeah, you mentioned it. I mean, let's not forget the last time these two played at a major, or I don't know if it was the last time they played, but at a big consequential match at a major was at that U.S. Open in 2023, where Madison Keys led 6-0, 5-3. Ended up losing in a third set tiebreak to Aryna Sabalenka. So in a way, I feel like Aryna had to come in with even more confidence. Like, if I can lose the first set 6-0 and still come back and beat her, like, this is a match I'm very confident I can win. And Aryna did really play well in that second set. She turned it around after Madison won the first set 6-3. Aryna came back, won the second set 6-2, drop shotting, slicing, pushing Madison back, and then hitting short. And just, I mean, how many drop shot winners did we see? It was crazy. But I'll be damned if Madison Keys didn't come back in the third and just push her back and not let her set up for those drop shots. She took that out of the game because she was the one hitting first strike tennis. She was the one hitting big serves, big first shots, and being the aggressor and really making, you know, Aryna Sabalenka go back on her heels, which is quite a sight.
It is, and I think we saw a glimpse back to the Sabalenka, not necessarily of old. It actually is just her persona of like being flustered when things don't go her way, especially flustered in the sense of somebody knocking her back with their own power. And Madison Keys is one of the very few on the WTA tour that can do that. And she does it so easily. You know, like I think I tweeted this, like watching a Madison Keys match when she's in full flow, she just... it's so easy to go along with her because the way she produces her ground strokes, the way she's serving, especially with that new improved service motion where she brings that foot up and makes it a lot more smooth. It's just easy to kind of get entranced into the Madison Keys of it all. And that was happening throughout that match, even when Sabalenka was fighting back and doing the things that a world number one should be doing, which is making herself a tough out, which is what Sabalenka kind of had to do. Because, I mean, if I'm keeping it, like, I know this is a Madison Keys show, if I'm keeping it like truly 100, Sabalenka didn't Sabalenka didn't play amazing in the second week of that Australian Open. She got through it, but she didn't play amazing, and I think Madison Keys exposed that just enough, obviously, to get the title. And that shows me like that I don't want to go as far as saying that we're like looking at this new and improved Madison Keys, but let's say that we are, right? Let's say that this is the beginning of a new chapter or a new book of Madison Keys. That balance that I said earlier that she found in that match between like having an IQ and like actively doing tactics on the court as well as playing the natural like just dominating power that she has served her perfectly in the final stretches of that match. When Sabalenka was kind of imploding, Madison Keys wasn't. And that's normally not the case. It's usually the other way around.
Exactly. It is. No, I 100% agree. Sabalenka wasn't at her best throughout the whole tournament, and she still almost won it, which shows you how good Sabalenka is and why this is such an uphill battle. But the thing that jumps out to me is like the 5-all points like that, where Madison Keys is serving 5-all, 30-all. Arena Sabalenka is returning rips. I mean, absolutely scorches a forehand return at Madison Keys' feet. Madison gets low, redirects the ball, and rips her own winner for 40-30, and then serves it out the next point and walks to the changeover at 6-5. All of a sudden, she holds at 6-5. I feel like in the past, because I do think this is a new and improved Madison Keys, I think that ball is framed or missed, or she doesn't have the confidence to pull off what she did. It's so difficult to deflect a ball coming from Sabalenka at that pace, redirecting the ball kind of, it was like inside out, to that corner. That to me shows that like those kind of points, the love 30 points, the 30-all points where Madison just steps up and has the confidence. It's like, yeah, maybe I did make 2 bad errors in a row, but I'm right here and I'm going to make this one and I'm going to hit that ace. Like there was a new mentality that I saw from her, obviously, that I don't think we've ever seen before. And that kind of leads me into, let's talk through the rest of the tournament, because I have written in our outline, not all slams are created equal. I'll be the first person to admit that I have, had some things to say about some of these slam runs on the WTA side, particularly like, let's go back and look at 2021. Okay, that I've talked about that year a lot, but there are a lot of runs where you look at and you're like, wow, that gets you a slam. And, I've been around.
You can say their names, Tony. You can say Raducanu's name.
I can say Raducanu. I can even say, like, look at even some of like Ash Barty. I think her run to the Wimbledon title. There were a few that were like, okay, from those 2021 years, and even there are other ones as well. But there are a lot of fans and a lot of people, and I, like I said, am one of them. Where when you look back in the early 2000s. When Mariah Carey released this album, I might remind you, getting a slam was a lot more difficult when you're beating the likes of the Williams sisters, Davenport, Monica Seles, Clijsters, Henin, Hingis. I mean, you're beating Hall of Famers in every round from like the quarters on, sometimes even before. And so sometimes I would say the same thing. But let me tell you, this slam run reminded me of one of those runs from back in the early 2000s. Kind of like how getting a number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 is easier with streaming, Like
and that's very difficult to do. Getting a number 1 on the Hot 100 is very difficult to do. Not everybody has that to their credit.
Not everyone has that. Nicki Minaj, the best.
Is she
American
okay?
Idol.
I feel like I haven't heard from her in a while. Maybe that's a good thing. I haven't heard
from Nicki. It's probably a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
But Nicki, by the way, has since gotten a number 1 on the Hot 100. But back when Mariah said it. Oh my gosh. That also, remember when she also said about Nicki Minaj, she said,
I didn't know she raps. Yes, I didn't know she sings. I thought she raps or whatever.
Whatever. Yes.
Iconic
God,
lady.
Mariah is the queen of shade. She's so good. Anyways, to bring it back to Madison Keys, this run felt like one of those runs from the early 2000s. The average ranking of Madison Keys' opponent in this tournament was 12.9, which is one of the most difficult slam runs definitely of recent years, but really ever. Madison Keys is proving that she can take it against the top players. I mean, let's just quickly walk through some of these matches. I mean, she played Danielle Collins in the 3rd round.
Straight sets her, yeah.
straight setzer who's not only number 10 in the world, but also an American, a friend, someone who's been to the final of this tournament,
Yep.
and someone who was coming off a huge win and was very motivated, let's be honest, after what happened in her second round win. Why don't you explain it to us, since you now have a new friend in Destiny Iava, Danielle Collins' second round opponent?
I enjoyed that matchup very thoroughly. I enjoyed the moment that Danielle Collins told the entire Australian crowd to shut up.
Yes.
Verbatim. And the little, I need to find a clearer gif of that moment she told the crowd. She didn't tell them this, but she acted like she wanted them to kiss her hiney. Can I say ass?
Oh, yeah, you can say ass. She smacked her ass.
She smacked her ass and was like, kiss it. How about that?
Mhm.
How about that? I enjoyed that. And it, honestly, from interviewing Destiny Iava, it didn't phase her. She was more so just trying to get off of the court and not really get enthralled in all of that. But she said herself that she completely understands where Danielle Collins was coming from. Like, it can get a little hostile in there. And if people are not, it's one thing to not be on your side, and it's another thing to like actively heckle like they were doing to Danielle. And Danielle, she stood up for herself. There's some people who, kind of ride the fence with Miss Collins and say that she's bad for the sport or what have you. I thought that was more so of the lane of just somebody sticking up for themselves and showing their personality. Every single person doesn't have to like respond to every single thing the same way tennis, quote unquote, wants you to respond.
Right.
And you just have to be yourself. And I feel like that is kind of a correlation between Destiny Iava and Danielle Collins. They do things their own way and they do it differently. Destiny Iava was walking around with a Wozniacki 2013 dress on. Like that's very unique in her own style and, representing what she wants to wear, not just whatever sponsor can throw at her. And Danielle Collins is the same way. Like, no, I'm not going to take the higher road. I'm going to give it to you. And I enjoyed all of that.
I loved all of it. And I loved your conversation. You alluded to it, but Myles on his podcast at Tuned Into Tennis talked to Destiny Iava, Danielle Collins' second round opponent. It was such an interesting interview. But yes, Madison Keys, to bring it back to her, beats Collins in straight sets in the third round, then goes to play Rybakina in the fourth round.
My favorite.
I know, Myles' favorite, Miss Personality Rybakina.
Yes.
But listen, Rybakina was playing well. She was absolutely destroying people. She's a Wimbledon champion.
Sorry.
She was. Look, she got a little injured, but she didn't play injured against Keys. She looked good against Keys. That match was tough, and that there was an opportunity there again for Keys to let it slip in the third set. It was tight in the third set, and she came through it. And I thought that was the first sign of like, okay, Madison, I'm not sure I expected you to beat Rybakina in 3 sets here.
Same, especially because if I go back to just a couple years ago, I remember a tight third set that Rybakina and Keys played at the French Open, and Rybakina won it 7-6 in the third. So there was some moments that Keys could have reverted back to older versions of herself, but getting through that match, I agree, was huge for her, and she continued on into the quarterfinals and played somebody that also could have been and was tricky for her. So she had hurdles along the way.
In that quarterfinal, she played Svitolina, who I believe was the 28th seed, but again is like kind of that exact same player that could cause Keys problem because she's a very quick player, good defense, stays in long points. But since she's come back from pregnancy, Svitolina has also kind of injected her own power and pace into the match. So Svitolina can also kind of attack you, and she's beaten Madison on big stages before. That one was, I watched that match and I did think Keys was going to get through that because Keys was playing so damn well. I mean, I think we've talked about it. She won her lead up title, came in here. I mean, Madison was playing great tennis. No one was denying that. It really was just can she do it, like you said in the preview, when it really counted. And she did it against Svitolina to win 6-4 in the third set, but that was not a gimme either. And that is what got her into the semis, of course, to play Swiatek, and then the final to play Sabalenka. So it was a murderous row she had to go through to win this title.
It absolutely was. And I remember being, I was hosting one of my Clubhouse rooms, like I did pretty much every night of the Australian Open. And that Keys-Svitolina match wasn't a match that I thought I would end up being invested in because I was still under the guise that Madison Keys might flub this up, respectfully. But when I was, and if you go back and watch that match, there were some forehands that were into the cheap seats. Okay. And I was like, oh, brother, Madison Keys, you're playing so well. Please don't let Svitolina be the demise. But she got it together when it really mattered. And I found myself invested. Even the fans on Clubhouse and my supporters and people I engaged with were like, Myles, why are you this invested in a Madison Keys match? What is going on? But I felt it. And I should have known something was different in that match, but she kept it together. And I feel like that's the story of her tournament, and another great correlation to the emancipation of Mimi, like going through things, persevering, literally being vulnerable with the fact that, hey, this stung or this made me feel this way. I need to go and kind of recuperate, but like coming back and keeping it together even when you're tested. You know, I'm sure it wasn't easy for Madison Keys to kind of come back from that US Open semifinal or just really still be on tour 10 years after everybody thought she should have won every Grand Slam in front of her. Nor was it easy for Mariah Carey to be, you know, the leading lady of the 90s, go through that career arc and then come back and release a great album. There's perseverance and determination linked in both of those. And I loved seeing Madison Keys do it, and I still love revisiting this damn emancipation of Mimi. It still knocks.
Honey,
just like this tournament will. I think this tournament will age very well for Madison Keys.
Oh my gosh, this is going to go down. I have to say, if it weren't for Madison Keys, I think this tournament would have been kind of a bust. Let's be honest. The men's side was a dud, and the women's side, and the women's side it had some high points with, you know, Beckett Schneider, but like it was okay. And then Madison Keys turned this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
The tournament and all of tennis owes Madison Keys a huge thank you, because it's now turned into this amazing comeback story and of perseverance. Whereas it was kind of like, girl, I don't know what to watch on some of these days, and these men are putting me just to sleep.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, a lot of people had given up on Mariah Carey early in the 2000s. And I want to address, because I've talked about it on this podcast, I have two personal stories that I just want to tell the girls. So saddle up. And Myles, please, if you have any, I'm sure you do as well, please let me know. But I was, just to let you know how big of a Madison Keys fan I've been for so long. In 2015, let's all go back. So you mentioned the Australian Open 2015. She lost to Serena Williams in the semis of Australia. Madison Keys had a breakout year that year. Excuse me, I'm burping up my champagne. That was lovely. Madison Keys had a breakout year in 2015. And as we all know, Serena Williams was going for the calendar year slam that year as well. She won Australia, she won the French, she won Wimbledon. And Madison Keys was coming up against Serena Williams at the 2015 US Open. I was like, girls, gather up. I got the group text going. I called Joe's on Juniper, which RIP is no longer here, but you know it?
Yeah.
I called up
Take a sip for Joe's.
Yes, for Joe's on Juniper, pour one out. Joe's on Juniper was a gay bar here in Atlanta that I reserved a table. Honey, Joe's on Juniper was so tragic. No one reserved tables. They were like, what do you mean reserve a table? I had this special area that I had reserved. I had a TV that I specifically had changed to tennis, and I had gathered all my gay friends, and I was like, y'all, this is going to be the best match. This is the match. If Serena's going to lose at this US Open, it's this one. This is the match everyone needs to come watch. I had everybody come out, and shockingly, Serena, from the minute the match started, you could just tell Madison, I don't even think she wanted to win that match. It was all Serena all day, and you never even felt like Madison was going to win, and everyone was sitting there. There's like 8 to 10 people at this brunch table, and they're like, why did you have us come watch this match? Like, why are we sitting here? Like, this is not a tough test. Like, Serena's winning. Like, it didn't give tennis a great look.
That was a Labor Day weekend match, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. It's in full on YouTube if you need a refresher.
It's not that good. You don't need to go back, but feel free. Listen, if you want to just go back and watch Serena in 2015, it's worth it. So then there's that moment. Then comes 2017, a few years later. I'm like, okay, we have the Sloan Madison final, y'all. This is my time for redemption. I'm still following Madison Keys closely. I rent out the event space in my condo. I buy all this food and alcohol. Again, gather up the gays, honey. Come watch tennis. This match is going to be so fun. You're going to love it. It's going to be an American champ. Everybody come. We all, or most of us, I know both of us remember that score line. Actually, was it 6-3, 6-0 or 6-0, 6-3?
6-3, 6-0.
6360.
Bingo.
It was a disaster. Madison was crying on court. It was one of the worst finals I have ever watched. And it was not a good look for tennis. People were leaving before the match was over. I literally never felt like such a loser as I'm cleaning up stuff and everyone's just like, what are we doing here? They all left.
Well,
It was
hopefully, did you have to pay by the hour for the event space? Because the match was less than an hour.
I think it was free, but you're so right. I should have gotten some money back if I did have to pay because it was over so quickly. But the point is, it's like, how many times can you be hurt by the same person before eventually you stop picking them in these big matches? So I know a lot of people will say, like, I've been with Madison from the beginning. And it's like, yeah, so was I. But like, I mean, these were a long time ago. That's not even talking about the 2023 US Open semi to Sabalenka we talked about earlier, or all of the injuries that have occurred during slams. Like, Madison Keys has been through a lot, and her fans have been through a lot over the last 10 years. So that's what makes this even sweeter, because it's like, I had kind of thought, like, I knew who Madison Keys was.
Mhm.
I knew what she could do in her career. She would win some matches. She has these flashes, but at the end of the day, I truly did not think she had this in her. And for her to pull it off at this point in her career, after all these years of putting us through this, it is truly so sweet. It is as sweet as the champagne I'm about to take a sip of right now.
And that she got drenched in with her physio and team, which, by the way, I think she would appreciate this. And maybe I have to like send you this reel so you can post it, or like
Please.
cover it. I don't know what I've heard. Shout out to her physical trainer, Richard, because I've never associated like a nice tush with Madison Keys. But the specific clip of her getting doused in champagne and like, just having that celebratory moment, if you pay attention, respectfully, I say this with tons of respect.
Of course.
The cheekage is doing well. She's cheeked up back there.
Okay.
She really is. Yeah, I was like, okay, Madison Keys. I mean, I don't want it, again, respectfully, but I see.
Appreciate it.
Yes, I appreciate a good cheek moment when I see a good cheek moment.
Well, listen, I mean, look, I've been getting messages and DMs about Carlos Alcaraz's cheek moments all week at the Australian Open. So I'm glad Madison Keys could have one of herself. And maybe that's why all that hard work is why she's able to get low and hit some of those forehands that Sabalenka was ripping at her.
Oh, speaking of getting low, that point that you referenced where she kind of hit that inside in forehand, I think it was 5-all. That, I believe, is going to be her signature shot of the tournament, if not her signature shot of her career. Also, to make another correlation, when I think about this Madison Keys 2025 Australian Open run, I'm going to think about that shot where she's kind of to her knees and redirects pace against Sabalenka in the final. There's a song on the Emancipation of Mimi that has a signature from a producer that I just wanted to mention. Say Something with Mariah Carey and Snoop Dogg. It is so good. And do you know how it starts?
Well, hold on. Why don't I just really quickly play a clip of it for everybody, because
bam.
Hey.
That 4 bounce little beat thing is a staple from Pharrell. And I don't know if a lot of people, I think if you know, but Pharrell's biggest hits that he's either been on, produced, whatever, they all start with like a repetitive 4 beat bounce. And I think that's the coolest thing. I think it's nice when you can have a very like successful person that you can, even if you don't know they're a part of something, like that thing is theirs. And that Madison Keys forehand along with Pharrell's 4 beat notorious like start on a song are just completely signature moves for both of them. I love that.
So good. I'm so glad you brought that up. By the way, hold on. I just have to. Hold on.
Which version was that?
I was about to say, that was some weird version. Let me get the radio edit. Used to be.
Others can't do it like me. You never be MC, baby. Don't you forget about I know that's right. I wish I could sing for real. Y'all wouldn't be able to shut me up.
They can't shut us up. That's why we talk so much. We can't
I
sing,
know
so we'll
that's
just
right.
talk.
And that's why you listen at home and play us on your speakers. You like what you
Hello.
hear. You like what
Listen,
you hear.
y'all grab a cocktail, put on Emancipation of Mimi, and then put on this podcast and enjoy yourself. And remember just how good this run of Madison Keys was.
I know
All
that's
right,
right.
Myles, before we let you go, I have a few more things I want to run through. Let's talk about how Madison Keys did it. We've talked a lot about these matches, what she's come through, how excited we are for her. There are a couple of key things that I know that she has done to get to this place.
Mhm.
I'm going to start with her saying, when I say she has changed how I view her as a person, there are some clips of Madison Keys that y'all need to go watch of her talking about how she has seen a therapist and how she has gotten to a place kind of like Mariah Carey, where she did not let the expectations define her,
Mhm.
where it was not about whether she had to win this slam or she was letting people down. She had gotten to a place where she was happy and proud of who she was as a person and a player before what anyone else has to say. And I just think that's so important and so nice. Like that's something we've talked about with Danielle Collins. I mentioned there was a maturity about Danielle Collins and the way she just like goes about things, because I think she's just very emotionally smart. And I think that's with Madison Keys, that felt like such growth to me. And then here she is, as soon as she lets that go, she comes up with the best tournament of her entire career. So that stuck out to me. Do you want to talk a little bit about her racket change? I know I've seen you tweeting about this.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how quickly it all came together for her, because if you were one of the few people who cared about the exhibition season in December.
Not me, honey, not me.
Luckily, I gave a shit that day because Sloane and Madison played a exhibition match in Charlotte, North Carolina, and something caught my eye, and it was the new racket that Madison was swinging, but it was completely blacked out. And I was like, okay, maybe she's just testing something, but she came back out with it again in Auckland, and I realized from that moment that it was a Yonex frame, because Yonex has the isometric head size. Sorry if I'm losing you here. I'm kind of
No, do it.
So I was like, I've never seen her swung a Yonex. She also had completely restrung her rackets with a full bed of polyester Yonex strings, whereas before she would do half poly, half gut, which is kind of like they call it a hybrid, so you get the best of both worlds. But with Madison Keys' game, she needs control, and that racket setup allowed her to swing out and still get control. And I think she felt like the magic in that, because she's always had free flowing power that she can depend on, but controlling it when she got tight and when moments got tight was hard for her. And with that racket, it gave her just a little bit more safety in those moments, and seeing her kind of wield that and use that to her advantage was beautiful. But I really do think it's a testament to how not only was she determined, and not only had she like come to peace with her career regardless of if she won a slam, she was also able to be flexible. And maybe that's a testament to her almost turning 30, because something happens when you turn 30. You're like, there's a shift. And I think she just really wanted to kind of throw all of the irons that she could into the fire, and changing her racket at this point in her career after playing for decades with Wilson was a testament to her flexibility. And not only did she change her racket and strings, she had been tinkering with the stance on her serve, and she had been doing that post US Open. So she kind of gave it some time to kind of marinate into her game. And that also had alleviated a lot of the stress that was on her shoulder and thigh, because the platform stance that she does, it works for some people, but it does put stress on certain parts of your body that can be alleviated by just moving your foot up like she did. So all of that happening in the span of like a couple of months, and it, formulating into a Grand Slam title, it's just it just speaks to the ability that like a person that is secure in themselves. Yes, they're secure in what they have done, what they have achieved, but like, you know what? If I haven't achieved it, or if I haven't come to the pinnacle of this goal I set for myself, I've enjoyed the journey. So let me try something different to see if things shake up, because you don't know. Like if you don't know what shoes are going to fit unless you go to JCPenney's and try them on.
Not JCPenney's, honey. We're not going to the mall.
Where did I pull that from?
If we're going to the mall, we're getting some of that cheap Chinese food from the food court and keeping it moving.
Orange chicken, baby.
Yes, ma'am. But I will say, it's so true what you said. They're so well put. And it's like, if this doesn't inspire you, like truly, I'm not even kidding. If this run does not inspire you to make adjustments in your own life and what you can do and to dream bigger. Like it really should, because like you said, she's been doing things for so long in one way and it's gone well for her, right? But these small changes, like even with her stance, that thigh was a lot of the injury she had was on that thigh. So it's like, to me, to see someone make these changes, make these adjustments, and really go for her dreams and go after it and achieve them, I truly believe this is one of the most inspiring runs I have ever seen in my life of a tennis player. And it really should. I hope everyone listening is inspired and is truly like, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to make these adjustments for my own life and make my own changes. Whatever changing your racket looks like in your life, do it. Not to get all like, I want to save your life on it, but like, or change your life. But
put your mouth right over that hole.
Exactly. But another thing that was new, obviously, she also just got married, right, to Bjorn Fratangelo. So she just got married about a couple months ago, and obviously that's a positive impact. But he's also now her coach, and you could see that their interactions and that comfort level she had there. Not that I'm trying to give too much credit to a man for a woman's success, but I'm just saying there was something about that relationship that I think also put her at ease. And watching them interact, I was like, okay, maybe she felt more comfortable talking to him about certain things that she wouldn't other people, or whatever that dynamic is obviously working for her. So these changes, all like you said, all of these things happened quickly and led to her winning the slam in just a couple of months, really.
Yeah, and they weren't necessarily huge changes. She didn't like retool her entire team. Yeah, a racket change for a player can be a considered a big thing, but you've hit so many balls as a professional, you kind of just know what works for you. So as soon as you find your groove, you're like, oh, this is what I've been missing, and you just go with it because you know your game. Kind of keep that, like you're saying, keep that mentality towards your own life. Don't think of like the goal is so far out of reach. You never know what like small change can really yield big dividends, and we're seeing that with Madison Keys because she is gleefully walking around the beaches of Melbourne with that title and that trophy.
And she's wearing a dress that costs only $218. She's a thrifty queen, which we love. I was like,
frugal queen.
Yes, a frugal queen. I know. And I've never seen, by the way, she looked like a badass. I've never seen Madison look so badass.
With the dark hair and everything. Yeah, I love that.
Yes. And she left her press conference. She picks up the glass of champagne with one hand, the Daphne trophy with the other, and strolls out of that press conference like a boss. I was like, Madison, go. Like, it's just so nice to see her have this moment. I cannot say it enough. After so many kind of low points, to see her have these just boss bitch moments, it's truly remarkable.
A husband, a Grand Slam title, and back in the top 10 all in a couple of months. You go, Madison Keys, you go.
Right? She's having a good 2025. All right, Myles, before we get to the gayest moment of the week, any final thoughts? What are any lasting things you want to say or think about this run from Madison Keys winning her first slam title at the Australian Open?
I just want to give her credit for quickly silencing out Iga Swiatek's gamesmanship at the beginning of that third set, because that was probably one of the sweetest and most well-timed aces of her career.
Ooh.
And her face before she hit it was like, y'all don't see what this girl's doing? Y'all don't see it? Okay.
She looked, the way she looked at her, that's how we really should have known that this was a new and improved mentality from Madison Keys. When she gave that look to Iga, which, by the way, this brings me to my gayest moment of the week. So let's just get right into it. I clipped that moment and put it on Instagram, which has blown up so out of control. I cannot believe it. I want to thank all of my followers and everyone who has shared that. It has over 2 million views already, which is absolute madness for my account on Instagram. Thank you so much. But it is that moment where Iga is over there doing her shadow swings and she's, holding her hand up, slowing Madison down and doing all this shit, running around over there while Madison is clearly ready to serve. Time has been called. Madison gives her this look and then slams down an ace to start the third set. It is chef's kiss, the most perfect moment. Now, my gayest moment of the week is, when you have a post that pops off like that, you get a million comments. And some of the gays in that comment box are cracking me the hell up. They're down there referencing Bartoli. They're down there saying that Iga was summoning Justine Enna when she held her hand up.
Well, that's her daughter. That's definitely her daughter.
These people, y'all were cracking me up down there. These people in our comment section are so damn funny. Thank you. Y'all gave me such a good laugh. Thinking about Bartoli when she was back at the fence doing those two-handed swings. I mean, the comment section is hilarious. So thank you for keeping it fun and mostly above board and not mean. Like, we're all just here to have fun. But man, my gayest moment of the week was just cackling at some of these tennis gays and the things that they remember and bring up from the past. Y'all are hilarious.
I'm
That is
glad
my gayest moment of the week.
I'm glad your experience on Instagram has been positive lately, because I got my own little taste of the wrath of tennis
I've
people.
been there.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about it? Let it out now, Myles.
I will just say that I posted the video of Carlos Alcaraz mocking Novak Djokovic in their quarterfinal during the change of ends.
Oh, with his leg.
Last time I checked, that had almost 4 million views, which is by far the biggest reel I've ever posted.
Congratulations,
And
by the way.
they called me everything but a child of God in my DMs. Everything but.
Now, is this Djokovic fans, I assume?
Absolutely. The Serbian flags that I saw flying in the bios are insane. And I mean,
alligator emojis.
yeah, the most common thread I see is that, why don't you just say you don't like Djokovic? Baby, honey, listen. I've said that, and I've said it multiple different ways. I don't know how else you want me to describe that. He's not my favorite, and I reserve the right to poke fun. It's not like I'm telling him to, harm himself. It's very lighthearted. I think I called him a fraud. Yeah, that's lighthearted Real Housewives of Atlanta shade. Yeah.
Fraudulent.
Looking all fraudulent. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, first of all, listen, as my mom used to say, read my lips. You know what I mean? Let me say it for you. There's a reason why I don't post much about Novak Djokovic on my Instagram or Twitter or anywhere else. I wasn't sure if you had a gayest moment of your week, Myles, so I actually selected one for you, if that's okay.
Yeah, I wasn't too queer this week.
Okay, that's fine, but maybe you were a little more than you even realized. I have to say, I listened to your interview with Destiny Ayava.
Uh-huh.
Find it anywhere you get podcasts at Tuned Into Tennis. And there were multiple moments where I believe you and her used the word badussy.
Yes,
and
we did.
I just thought, this is fabulous. You have a professional tennis player on your podcast. First of all, you also talked about Pride Day and her heritage and a million other really great things. But you also talked about her putting her badussy into a forehand? What exactly was it? Explain it to the people.
This is actually how we started following each other. She tweeted that she was doing some kind of hitting session with a girl who was playing with, like, what we consider a commercial racket, one you can just pick up from your local store or whatever, compared to like a pro-designed strategic for a professional player racket, which are typically more heavy and just offer a lot more than the typical Babolat you can pick up in Dick's Sporting Goods. And she said she had to put her whole badussy into the shot to make it actually work with this commercial racket that she had just picked up to hit around with a friend. And I brought that back up in our interview because that was the moment that I followed her. She followed me back, and it kind of became this like running joke that turned into a podcast interview with her. So yeah, I didn't between her rocking vintage Ivanovic and Sharapova dresses and her actually using the term badussy, I was sold and will continue to be sold.
Yeah, you have to stand. All right, Myles. Well, that will do it for this episode. Before we hop off, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and how they can follow along with all of the amazing things you're doing online and with your badussy?
You can find me and my badussy hopefully in the nearest liquor shop because I need the champagne that Tony's
drinking.
And you can also find me online at all socials at Tuned Into Tennis. You should actually run over to TikTok and beat me there because I promise you, hold me to it. I'll be on the tick and the talk this year. You can also find my writings and my musings about what's going on in tennis over on Sports Illustrated website, Serve on SI. All of that is available to be on my socials. It's on my YouTube. I'm all over. You can find me. Look for me, Myles David. We can tune into tennis together.
Amazing. And on my end, I just want to give myself a few plugs here. I was able to do a guest spot on History of the 90s, talking about the Monica Seles, Steffi Graf, Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi, rivalries and outfits and all that stuff from the 90s. So I will have a link in the show notes if you want to hear me on that podcast, talking to Kathy, their host. We had a really good time. After the Australian Open, you're going to be missing tennis. Go listen there. And then make sure you come back here Next week, we are going to do a Traders by Australian Open recap episode. So make sure you come follow us here. If you want more from us, you can follow along on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, at The Gay Tennis Pod. Go stream Emancipation of Mimi.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all have a wonderful week. Madison Keys, I hope you're still celebrating. For Myles, I'm Tony, and we will see y'all soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone out there for listening to today's show. You can find more episodes like this on all your podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Audible, just by typing Tuned Into Tennis in the search bar. Be sure to subscribe to our show, leave a rating or review, and also engage across all of our social media channels with the same handle, Tuned Into Tennis. For more information about today's show and how to support the show, check out the podcast description. My name is Myles David. Thank you again for listening to Tuned Into Tennis, and I'll tune in with you again soon.